says we are live. We're going to start the recording as well for the podcast. I'm going to take a nice sip of my new shot of 4 espressos because your boy is so sleep deprived. This is going to be a total of 8 shots of espresso today. I expect at least 4 tomorrow, but of course later in the evening. Shout out to my girlfriend for always supporting me. It's been draft week. It's so good. It's so good. For anyone that drops in, hopefully I got an update on my Amazon order. Hopefully my new podcasting mic boom set with a soundboard will hopefully be here a day early now on Saturday. So that's really exciting. We're expecting it day 3 of the draft. Friday, so day 2 of the draft. Actually, is when it's coming. Sorry, because it was supposed to arrive Saturday. But with that said, we're gonna give this 2 minutes, not even here, and we're gonna officially get started for the evening. I know I got a couple other people that are going live here at 9 tonight, so I hope they're all doing well. We had Coach drop in earlier. That was so exciting, man. Just to even, have someone like him drop in. Shout out to Coach Sip2 Tally on YouTube. Check him out. Baltimore Ravens content creator. He's very beloved by the community and runs a great show where he's doing a new call-in section. With that being said, today, guys, we are going to be going over mostly defensive product. My God, I'm losing my brain. Prospects. Oh, hold on. I want to check out what Ingraven was saying earlier. Why is it not like... I'm not Twitter savvy. Sorry, guys. I'm getting there. I'm trying to get better just for the sake of how kind of important it can be, I guess. But with that, it's 9:05. Says I have 0 viewers, but we're still going to get started here. So welcome in to Darwin's Ravens Defensive Draft Special. Again, we're going to be only focusing on day 2 and 3 prospects. We're going to try to avoid a lot of even the second round guys in some of these conversations. However, I know there's one person, a linebacker, that one person I collab with is very fancy of. And so, of course, we will have to kind of go over him a little bit. With that being said, why did it add animations? I didn't even do that. We're going to get started here with the defensive tackles. Let me get my notes out. Apologies. Before we really get started here. Defensive tackles were early in the draft or in the combine. Overall, by the way, the defensive tackles were rated as a plus 0.5 compared to previous draft classes, 2015 through 2022. So a little distinction there. The defensive line is going to be a pretty good defensive line this year. Yeah, D-tackles started the combine when my notes weren't at their best. That's unfortunate. I wish I had their combine numbers. That was, as I was taking notes, my process slowly kept evolving, essentially, because I am no pro on this, but we are trying. And of course, my notes are so just jumbled. It would be by alphabetical, so that's easy to know. But when I actually tried to look up their draft number or combine numbers, not the, like 40s, but their physical number they were wearing, I'd have to go back and watch it all. All right. With that being said, though, this guy made a little bit of noise at the combine. Gervon Dexter Sr., the defensive tackle out of Florida, 6'6", 310, placed overall third in the broad jump, 22 in the bench. Seems like, in my opinion, that he has a lot of potential pass rush from the defensive tackle position, and he could be a menace. Man, I really wish I had their numbers. I'm going to try to see if I can find it real quick. Hey, I got a new follower on Twitter. Shout out to Lucy Shane if I doubt they're in the chat, but appreciate the follow. I'm trying to make sure. I'm trying to see if I can get. So, of course, later on, I started making sure to have my numbers associated with certain. Okay, I did get some of those numbers. 15, 17, and 16. Okay, so 15 was Silvera, 16 or 17 was Stills. That's 19. 19 was Young. Don't know if it was which Young. Okay, so in the pass rush drills, I had good marks on Silvera, Stills, and one of the Youngs. On the run and club, overall, some good drills. Breesy looked really good in that drill. Dale, Ika, Ojomo from Texas. Redmond looked good in the running club. Stills looked good in running club. Young looked good in the running club. Circle run, led by Breesy again, kind of. Dale looked good again. Dexter looked good in the circle run. Pickens did not look good in that. But yeah, my notes evolved. But Gervon Dexter Sr. looked good in some of those drills for me, and it's what landed him on this list. In the scouts' words, Dexter is frequently slow off the snap, which tends to have a domino effect on both his hands and positioning in a negative way. His size and traits help him make plays even after being blocked early in the rep, but he will need to improve his hand usage as a pro. He is a limited pass rusher with below average quickness, and a rush skill can get there eventually if the play extends. Dexter's physical profile might be hard for teams to ignore, and he could become a more consistent performer in a 3-4 defense. So basically playing him as maybe a 3-4 D tackle, not the nose tackle, but a D tackle. Kind of envision a Calais Campbell, but of course Calais is oh God, I really hope Calais gets a ring. And I just spilled coffee all over myself. Good thing I had some tissues here from earlier. But I really wanted a ring for Calais. I said it multiple times over the season even. That man deserves a ring. I really hope he gets one. The Atlanta thing I thought was interesting. I thought that was a precursor that Lamar might be headed to Atlanta. Not saying I want him to. Please don't crucify me, Ravens flock. But that just, with Ritter, they're not a Super Bowl team. And Calais wants a Super Bowl. That's all he wants. So it made me think that they've got something in plan for quarterback. But I don't know what it is. I'm more sad about losing the espresso than spilling it on myself. Yeah, I think this guy might be something. Maybe he didn't play. Maybe he took some plays off. But I think with his potential, and he was someone who I thought was going to go early, and then I felt like he's been dropping recently. But I've still got faith in the man. I got to go with my boy Zach Pickens, USC, that is University of South Carolina, not Trojans. The Gamecock, which is the starter school for CCU, the Chanticleers, if you know the history there. 6'4", 291, placed fifth in the 10-yard split, fourth in vertical and broad. Ended up putting 22 up on the bench, basically same as Dexter Sr. Again, 6'4", 291. He's not over that 300 range, so he, might have a little bit of a hard time finding what his position's gonna be. But let me find my notes here on him again. Apologies. Pickens. He was number 12 at the combine on the defensive line drills. Looked average in circle and run. The run and clubbed, he looked good. In the wave drill, he looked really good. What's that other drill? The 4-bag drill. Let me see. Dexter was number 7. Yep. So he looked good in some of the drills, caught my eye. And like I talked about a little bit in the offense, although some of these are kind of more an instinctual feel. Zach Pickens, an athletic interior defender with experience and length as a gap control tackle, but the quickness and play traits that might be better suited to attacking upfield. Pickens has a disruptive first step that creates advantages for him as both a run defender and a pass rusher. He plays with a harmonious hands and feet to elude blockers or play off of them, but he's likely to get moved around by the NFL drive blockers because of his size. He's only 291. Pickens has the ability to play both tackle spots in one gapping front and a rotational value with potential to see starter reps. This guy's going to be really depend on, I feel like, where he goes in the NFL draft, if you get what I mean. Like, not quite sure, but I don't know. I got faith that he might be something. So, Keandre Coburn, the defensive tackle out of Texas, 6'2", 332. That is a big man. You know what I'm saying? And it's just weird. I kind of like the guy, and I feel like he's been following some a little bit. Wore number 5 at the combine. Let me run over my notes here, see if he stood out at all. Honestly, sadly, I don't have much on him, though. I think he looked kind of subpar in the circle and run. I don't know. Again, maybe he's my sleeper pick. I feel like he's fallen down some boards a little bit. So a stout but athletic nose tackle. Maybe it's just because I like my nose tackles with nimble feet. Coburn can sit down in muddy run lanes or create difficulties for pin and pull blocking schemes with his interior agility. While he's not a 3-down lineman, he does have the bull rush and activity level to cause issues as a rusher. He's more than capable of pressing and separating for blocks as a 2-gapping plugger, but requires more consistent technique to improve his consistency in that area. Coburn's blend of girth, power, and agility could be coveted by teams looking for help along the interior. So if you're kind of looking for a run-blocking nose tackle, he might be your guy. I think what caught my eye about him is just, in general, I think just watching him move, and he is a bigger guy. Like, didn't have good grades on the drills on him, but... And I'm trying to move through this a little quicker than I did to my offense, even though technically the defense isn't as split as much. But all right, we've got Jalen Redmond, the Oklahoma Sooner. 6'2", 291, bench press 27 reps, came in 4th at the combine. He had the number 1 broad and vert jump and had the 3rd best 10-yard split. Redmond was wearing number 13 at the combine. I've got overall good notes beside him. Looked good in the wave drill. Looked good in the 4-bag drill. He looked pretty good in the running club. Really good in the circle run. He looked good moving out there. And, of course, he's a little smaller at 291. So, of course, where is he really playing on the line? The scouts had this to say: Redmond's NFL scouting combine testing was outstanding, as he displayed quickness and explosiveness that doesn't always show up on his college tape. Again, tape is the real tell, so he possesses plenty of toughness but moves on heavy feet. His lack of bend makes him a linear mover with limited playmaking potential. While he might not fill up an NFL stat sheet, he does have the base strength for consideration as a rotational 4-3 nose tackle with some blocking elements to his game. Yeah, so he looked good at the combine, just in the drills in itself, and of course the broad. What they're referring to a lot is that broad and vertical jump. Again, where does he really play? But I just have a feeling he might be able to provide a little bit of a twitch interior pass rush, maybe on like that 4-3 scheme, or in a certain package. Not gonna probably be like a day one starter, but sneaky rotational depth, I guess, for the right package. You know what I'm saying? I like the kid. Sooners, their defense has always been, what it is. Devontae Stills, another guy that, again, looked good at the combine. Virginia kid. 6'3", 286, so a little lighter than you'd like a defensive tackle. Check his numbers here. Wore number 17, I believe, at the combine. Looked good in the forward bag drill. Looked good in his pass rush drills. Looked good in the running club. Looked good in circle run. But of course, as a 286 defensive tackle, he kind of should, Fourth in the 10-yard split, third in broad, and 20 bench reps. Definitely, I don't really, like they say, still lacks the girth of a 4-3 technique. 4-2-3 technique. The get off of a 4-3 in and the 2 gapping take on a traditional odd front end. However, he has physical play attributes that have allowed him to play at all 3 spots. Finding a fit for him will be paramount. But his quickness and agility will be valued in schemes and employing gaming active fronts. He can be a handful as a twisting interior rusher, but he needs to develop a go-to rush moves to help create additional value in that area. Stills could find rotational reps as an odd or even front end with the ability to rush from the interior. And so that's what I'm talking about. He looked good in every drill moving. So getting him on those twists and giving him a little bit of space to move in those rotational packages, maybe bringing him in as a situational pass rusher, I think the kid's going to add a little bit to a team, that's for sure. I'm going to admit bias on this one, 100% bias, not only towards nose tackles, but towards my CCU Chanticleers. We're going to give a shout out to Gerard Clark, who's actually at one time has been mocked to my Baltimore Ravens, I think in the 3rd round as high as I've seen. The 6'4", 334 nose tackle. CCU is, I'll be the first one to say CCU's been a little overhyped. But at the same time, Isaiah Likely's a beast, and they really have grown as a program. I'm telling you, man, I've watched that program grow. I grew up in Myrtle Beach, which is where CCU's at. I've watched that program grown so much. And like I said, I remember I originally walked on to CCU as a tight end, dumb idiot, and it was the year they opened with they were going to play Penn State, and I tried out. I was talking to the tight end coach, and the tight end coach literally straight up looked at me and said, "Hey, I got too many kids on scholarship. You got no chance." Now, what I should have done is say, "Coach, where do you need help?" But I didn't, and because it was one of those ones I really wasn't sure at the time, but so we're going to talk about my boy Gerard Clark, the nose tackle whose size is the double-edged sword. Clark lacks the build and body type of a true NFL nose, so additional weight limits his natural athleticism inside. He needs to make better use of his length to begin stacking blocks and controlling the point of attack. He's a former tight end with decent feet, so improved quickness could help him become more disruptive interior talent. The reason I like Gerard Clark, I think he is a beast. I think he just needs to be coached up. I think he just, Likely needed a lot of coaching with his blocking when he came into the league. I think Gerard, like they said, he's got raw talent. CCU, I'm telling you, they bring in some raw talent. Going all the way back to Jerome Sensen, the former wide receiver of the Cincinnati Bengals. Most people remember him for the front flip play. But dude, man, insanely talented. They would talk about him out there. They were like, hey, Jerome, I'm telling you, when you catch that ball, you're supposed to run it out. But Jerome used to run like 15, 20 yards. He always used to run that extra. Like that's the difference between these NFL guys and most of these college guys. And he'd run it all the way back. He just the work ethic is what it was. So CCU got them dogs. Shout out to the old head. Well, funny story too. I worked for 2 Men in a Truck at one point in my life, and we did a house, and we moved someone out of a house that used to be I forgot his name, but he went famous. I need dogs. I need dogs. I don't need no cats. I don't need no cats. I need dogs. Oh, shout out to Meowing and Grossi Posse. All right, moving on. We got another Longhorn here. Moro Ojomo. Sorry, I messed up your name earlier, Ojomo. War number 11 at the Combine. Oh, my neck. That felt good. Looked decent in the running club. Decent in the circle run. 6'3", 292 guy. Bench press 29 reps, third. Second invert, fourth in broad jump, sixth in the 10-yard split. A naturally powerful defensive lineman caught somewhere between defensive end and tackle. Ojomo is best suited as a base end, but doesn't really have the get-off quickness to exploit interior blockers as an inside rusher on passing downs. He's tight in his lower body and his movements lack fluidity, but he can fight his way through blocks with upper body power and a will to make it happen. Ojomo plays hard throughout the rep and will find production with his secondary effort, but he might cap out as a solid backup in either an odd or even front. So kind of like they're saying, he just sometimes wills it. He will fight and fight and fight, and I know sometimes that's kind of like the guys the Ravens like. They used to love, like back in the day, just the effort after that first move, basically. Even if they don't have a second move, just the willingness to keep pushing through it. Because you can teach them. As long as they know to keep moving, man, you can teach them the moves. And ingrain that into them through practice. But we really like Ojomo. I think, again, he's going to find it. It's what team takes them. It's all about these guys, what team takes them and how they fit into that team. But I think he's got high upside potential. Oh, that's bright. Probably should have ate more today, too. I think all the constantly left, right, down is messing with my neck. But we have the deepest position in this draft, and that's going to be edge. Edge is rated as a +5 margin from 2015 to 2022, essentially. So, man, this one, I think I have more than 5, which is my average for most positions. But it's just because, like I said, it's so deep, and we're going to see a good bit come off this board early. So this is a guy I've kind of seen dropping down some boards a little bit. And it's just weird. Like, I actually saw him in a 49er mock draft the other day, where, just he was sitting there, and I'm like, man, I'd probably blow that third round pick on him for sure. I think he dropped down boards a little bit for a few reasons. Let me see here. Looking over my notes here. Looked good in his wave drill. Looked decent in the 4-bag drill. Let's see. Foskey number 29. I've got a mark on. Looked pretty decent in his edge drill. No grade on plus or minus on pass rush. And looked pretty good on his circle drill. The 6'5", 264-pound edge defender ran a 4.58 40, so decent 40 for the edge, in my opinion. 22 reps on the bench press. The scouts had this to say: a forward-charging edge defender whose best football could be ahead of him. He relies heavily on a long arm rush attack with a ghost move counter, but he'll need to be more effective using his hands and rushes to help trip the edge, as he lacks his hip flexion to constantly dip and flatten to quarterbacks. His pressing play style and range in space should create opportunities to cause disruptions, but he lacks anchor as an edge setter and needs to go to school with take-on technique. There are slight limitations in his game, but he's going to keep getting better and has a future starting potential as a 4-3 defensive end, which is again why I've mentioned him a little bit. Just, hey man, you can never have enough edge defenders. You know what I'm saying? Pass rush wins championships. That or offensive line. That's the tell. You either have to have an offensive line and a quarterback, or you have to have edge defenders or rushers. I like the kid though. I've seen him falling like in the 4th round, and I think the Notre Dame kid has some serious potential to be, in that 4.58. I don't know if he did. Let me double check here. Linebackers. Where's the hybrids? Did he participate in hybrids? I feel like he did. He's 29. He did participate in them. Cool. Yeah, I've got him good on his first hybrid drills. Then they moved to like a back pedal drill. He was rated okay. And then a run and react drill. I had him marked, again, on the scale of 5, he got, with 3 being basically not good, not bad, he got a 4. So +1 margin, essentially. So he looked pretty good moving around. So might be able to play a little bit of a 3-4 end, but you'd really have to work him out privately for that. We got to talk about Byron Young, Tennessee guy, not the Bama guy, the Tennessee one. Of course, man, like, I don't know if I have, I'm going to guess he was, I don't know if he was 18. I think he was 18, not 19. Let me see. I don't know. Maybe he was 19. I've got pretty decent marks on 18. Let me see. Or no, he was number 51. Did he do D-line drills too? I've got defensive ends here too, which I think that's him. Rated highly, of course. My apologies. There's just so much. Yeah, I think he's considered 51 on the defensive ends, which he graded highly on the wave drill. He graded really well on the 4-bag drill. 2 takes on the edge drill really well. Pass rush drill really well. A little slight +1 margin on his circle bag drill. 6'2", 250, so doesn't really have that height of a prototypical outside guy. 4'4", 340, second in the class for edge and defensive ends. Which again you would expect with that 6'2", 250. He was second in the vertical, first in the broad, threw up 22 on the bench. An explosive edge rusher with disruptive play qualities. Young is still in the process of learning how to play his position. His rush hands lack skill, and he's missing go-to counters, but that could be coachable for him. He creates chaos when using his twitchy first step to slant and twist, but still needs to tune up the stack and shed technique and build out a cohesive rush approach. He will be a 25-year-old rookie with a lack of polish for his age, which is why I know my boy Joe Stevens doesn't like him, which could be a deterrent for teams. If Joe Stevens was the GM of the Seahawks, it would be. But a fully fueled motor and strong desire to make plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage give him a shot to become a capable pro. I think he's going to be a little undersized, but I think he's going to make some noise. He fell down some boards, I think, as well, and I think he's out to make some people doubt it. My boy, Yaya Diaby, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, a Louisville Cardinal. Yaya looked pretty good, if I remember correctly. Double check here. Yeah, looked really good in the wave drill. I missed him in 4-bag. He was wearing 26 at the combine. Good in his edge drill, good in his pass rush drill, and good in his run and circle. He participated in the hybrid drills. Oh yeah, I meant to check. Oh yeah, Young did too. Young looked really good actually in his hybrid drills. All like top marks. So Young from Tennessee looked good in his hybrid drills, so he might be able to play a little bit of outside backer as well. Yaya though, going back to Yaya, 26, looked good in his run and react drill. Actually, +1 margin on the hybrid. And I missed his back pedal drill. 4.5, 140 at 6'3", 263 pounds. Second in the defensive ends and his 10-yard split. Fourth in the vertical. Diaby plays with strong hands and clear eyes at the point of attack. He can strike and separate as a 2-gapping 5 technique or pursue and tackle as a 4-3 base end. He's a power rushing, lacking instinctive approach to beat better NFL tackles, but his lateral quickness and short area burst make Diaby perfect for twisting game front. His frame and skill set could attract attention as an odd or even front end, with his ceiling being defined by how much he's able to improve his creativity as a pass rusher. And that's again what I liked. I saw what I liked in his lateral ability at the combine and the drills and everything. So it's whether he can put it all together and, can he be coached up? And it's just like I said, all these guys, it depends on where they land. It's all about I don't know. Another guy I've kind of seen falling down some boards, Colby Wooden, the Auburn kid, 6'4", 273, kind of has that size maybe to be a 3-4 end. 4'7", 40, not the fastest, but 3-4 linebackers usually aren't. Bench rep 23, which you like to see. Oh, I hope I don't get sick. Just don't feel good. Number 50 at the combine, looked good in his wave drill as a +1 margin, looked good in 4-bag. His edge drills +1, +2, pass rush +2, circle drill 0. Hybrid drills did not look the best, but his back pedal and run and react were good at +2 margins. So 0, +2, +2. So has a little potential, not really, I think he might be able to make a shift. We like those guys that are like 270 or so. A defensive line prospect whose steady weight gain and frame development have allowed him to see the game at a variety of alignments. Wooden is at the most disruptive when attacking from the interior. He has a quick first step to attack gaps and threaten the pocket, but he's unable to sit down and drop a deep anchor against bullies in the run game. Of course, Auburn. Wooden's activity level and hand skill are the keys to his current and future success. They allow him to keep pressure on blockers from snap to whistle. High football character and scheme versatility work in Wooden's favor, but he will need to find the right team fit. Sounds familiar. I feel like someone's kind of said that about a lot of his picks. Anyway, I think the guy has a lot of potential. We used to do that a lot with guys like Za'Darius Smith, Pernell McPhee, guys that were edge rushers around that 270 to 290 range that we could, play outside a little more like that 5 technique, or slide him in and put him over a guard basically and let him push in. Like they said, this guy might have to, get a little stronger to take on those guards on an interior basis on the NFL. However, he has shown a good progression of continuing to fill out frame-wise and, really, so he might really benefit from an NFL nutrition dietitian and lifting regimen. Colby Wooden, though, is another guy in the 49ers draft. Though he was sitting there, and I was like, ooh, okay. Like, it's such a deep draft class for edge. Like, Jose Ramirez, Eastern Michigan, I believe, if I remember correctly. Really smaller school guy. I've got him circled here. He had really quick feet. Wave drill +1, 4-bag +1. He was wearing number 43 at the combine. He looked really good in his edge drill, +2/+2, pass rush +1, 0 on circle, 43. Competed in hybrid drills, +2/+2. Actually, though, marked as a -1 on my run and react drill. So I don't know if he slipped or what it was. 6'2", 242. I don't think he did actually anything like the 40-yard dash or anything like that. But just watching him in drills, he kind of caught my eye as a smaller school's prospect that might really drop in these later rounds. Ramirez's below average run defense could make it difficult for him to see the field early in his career, but he blends a hot motor and natural rush talent that could entice teams willing to continue his development in both phases. He's agile with the ability to gather and chase with the quickness once he finds an advantage inside the pocket. He can add strength and technique to improve his block take on, but he'll also need to show more grit. Ramirez has the potential to be drafted later on day 3. Natural pass rushers always have a shot to grow into productive pros. So this is a guy, again, 6'2", a little shorter, 242, decent weight. But just, again, what I immediately saw was how quick his feet looked. And guys that have quick feet can always, make a guy look silly. And, maybe he'll continue to grow and get bigger and develop his, his ability to take on blocks. But I don't know. I should have included on a lot of these edge rushers predicted sacks. I don't think he'll have many. He'll maybe only have 4. I'm going to guess Jose Ramirez 4 or 5 sacks. Now, this is actually a guy I found something out about the other day. I'm going to talk about it hopefully after that because, Zach Harrison, the edge rusher out of Ohio State, 6'5", 274. He's been mocked to the Ravens in a couple drafts. Bench press threw up 25, so some pretty good strength. Harrison, let me double check his number here. I don't think he was there actually. I don't have him. So I don't know if he was at combine. I don't think he was at the combine where he didn't compete in drills. Anyway, there's been a lot of talk about this young man from my understanding because of his arm length, but let's see what the scout had to say. Harrison is big and long with the ability to neutralize base blocks as a 4-3 base end, but his gradual movement and lack of playmaking urgency limited his overall production. Harrison has the physical tools to create occasional advantages early in the rush, but needs to get better at capitalizing on them. His size and length will always be appealing, but a more fiery demeanor on the field might be needed to raise status among beyond rotational end. So, if I remember correctly, I read a stat. I think he has the longest arms in the draft. Like, the guy's got arms. He's got the reach advantage, but it doesn't show up on tape. When it works, but he doesn't know how to utilize it. But I have a feeling this kid's going to go to the NFL. I think he's going to get humbled by a tackle out there. But I have trust in his work ethic and his demeanor, and I think he might take. He's not going to be a year 1. He might not even be a year 2 guy, to be honest with you. I think Zach Harrison's year in the NFL is going to come in year 3. And maybe it comes earlier. I hope it comes earlier for the young man. 6'5", 274. He's got a good frame. He's got the size. What Ohio State loves. He's everything prototypical. But, maybe at Ohio State, he just, college. I'm hoping that when this young man comes in, wherever he comes in, I think he's got a chance to make a difference. And I hope he takes full advantage of it. And I think if he gets the right coaches, he could bud into potentially, 12 sack kind of guy. Year 1, 2 sacks. Year 2, 5 sacks. Year 3, 9.5. And he starts heading for his free agency. Linebackers, guys. Linebacker is actually rated one of the worst positions in this draft as a -3 from my understanding. It's going to be a little bit of a hard one. But I got to talk about my boy's boy. So, Joe Stevens, I do a Monday talk show with him every Monday night for the past like 7 weeks. He is super excited about this guy. This is a guy who, just everyone know he looked good in his first 2 drills. I didn't get to see 3 and 4. Looked good in his 5th drill. But the tail of the tape kind of guy, Biliknikov winner, if I'm not mistaken. Just, he's the only guy I think really on this one that's going to be like, might be drafted second round, really. 6'5", 249. He just looks like that old linebackers, man. I'd love to have this guy as well. 4.65 40, just solid, whatever. Doesn't alarm you. Doesn't like set it on fire. Just shows he is what he is. Third in the vertical, second in the broad, shows that he's got some strong legs underneath him, which you need. An inside linebacker who is built for the box and plays with good overall physicality. Campbell's size allows him to challenge blocks and stand his ground despite inconsistent hand usage at the take-on point. He scrapes and plugs his run fits with workman-like dependability, but lacks the short area burst and reactive athleticism teams typically look for from NFL starters. He plays with above average field awareness. He's capable as a zone defender and in some matchups inline tight ends. And in some matchups against the inline tight ends. What you see is what you get with Campbell, and teams will need to balance the consistency with the playmaking limitations in their evaluations. I think he's a young, instinctual linebacker. I love the dude. I think he goes second round, which might be too high for Joe Stevens, but we'll see. So we got to talk about Owen Pappoe. Papo, I'm so sorry, dude. Number 0 for the Auburn Tigers, maybe he'll be the player to wear 0 in the NFL. Blew up the combine. Can he play linebacker in the NFL? At his size, it's going to be hard for him. But could he potentially be like a sub-package guy that could just, a big nickel, basically? Is what it is. I mean, if you look at him, 6 foot, 225, but the speed, 4.39, first in the 10-yard split too. So he's got some good first step quickness. 5th in the vertical, 4th in the broad. So he doesn't have that super strength. Bench press though, that's what caught my eye. He threw up 29 on the bench. Which might be, I don't know, his arm length. His arms look a little short right there. And I'll be the first one to tell you, with some of the longer arms, it's harder for us long arm guys. But Owen Pappoe, an undersized linebacker with impressive build, good speed, and long arms. Despite all of his traits, Pappoe failed to rack up impact production during his time at Auburn due to his lack of instincts and playmaking ability. He struggles to leverage the gaps and take on climbing blockers effectively, so a move to will linebacker should allow him to play more run and chase, which suits him. He doesn't look like an NFL starter on tape, but his third down and special teams potential will give him a shot at a backup role. And again, the third down, moving him in there to kind of, in the passing situations to maybe cover a guy just based on his pure measurables, you might be able to do. The run and chase is kind of, I think, similar to what we had to do with Patrick Queen, I believe. He moved from, Mike DeWill, I think. But, and then, of course, the special teams potential as maybe like a gunner. Whoo! Let him go fly down the field and hit somebody. I'd give him a chance. Definitely looking. I don't know if he's going to succeed, but I'm so excited to see where he goes. You know what I mean? I wish I had someone to ask their opinion. So the next guy on this list is going to be Ventrell Miller. Wonder if he was considered an edge player technically. I guess he wasn't at the combine. But 6 foot, 232, likely a 2-down linebacker with good physicality but lack of standout athletic traits. Miller appears to lack top speed and lose pursuit chases on outside runs with his instincts. Recognition is a step slow. He has the play strength and demeanor for life inside the box, but is on the lighter side for an inside linebacker.
While he's not a playmaker, he's hardly timid about triggering downhill and taking chances when he's quick to diagnose the action. He can drop into zones, but he could be a liability when mismatched up in space. He'll be a 24-year-old rookie and has the mentality to make up and for special teams. So it's one of those ones again. I'm looking at guys that also can play some special teams for me, but also to possibly develop into a good linebacker. This was other because again, I love the kid out of Clemson. I love Campbell. Abdullah looked really good in the draft, but I didn't have him on this board. Keep an eye out for him. You know, Sewell from Oregon. I don't have him on this list as well, but he looked really good. Honestly, out of my list, Ventrell Miller is probably actually last, but I wanted to get him out of the way. So Henley looked really good in his drills. He's marked as a +2 margin on every drill that I have there from the combine. 6'1", 225 linebacker. We're seeing a lot of these guys a little smaller. Fifth in the 10-yard split, sixth and fifth in the broad. So nothing to, really brag about. But I like the way the kid moves and his fluidity, and just I think he's got some potential to grow. A rambunctious inside linebacker with good speed and toughness. Henley's playing style can be described as more active than instinctive. His inconsistency in reading keys, anticipating the play flow is mitigated somewhat by his speed and talent to wrap and finish in space. He has excellent range and does a nice job of stepping downhill to challenge blockers in running lanes. There are some eye-catching production totals in the takeaway column and favorable physical elements to his game, but inefficient movement combined with recognition delays could push him toward a backup and core special teams role in the future. And again, it's one of those ones, probably just might be a backup, but at the same time, he doesn't lack, he doesn't have the instincts, but if he can learn and develop a little bit, I think the kid might develop into a real playmaker. He can do it. He just got to learn it. You know what I'm saying? Which is a lot of these guys. But that's why I'm a big guy about coaching up. I think in an NFL you can if the guy's got the talent and the mindset and the work ethic, it's your job to take all that and make that diamond. But that's why I love coaches so much. We gonna cover my boy from Bama, Henry Tu'o. 6'1", 227, 462, 40. Again, nothing to brag about. In the first drill, he's one of my people that actually received a +3 margin. Very rare to get a +3. Papo, Tu'o, and Winters all received actually +3 on their first drill. He's got +3, +2, +2, +2, 0. 1 plus maybe 2, and then another +1. Like, he looked good in the drills. He's a Bama linebacker, so he's used to bigger guys. I think he's going to be a great addition to whatever team he goes to. An assignment-oriented linebacker whose play is steady but unspectacular. Tu'o is tough but lacks thump inside and doesn't have the speed to cut off angles and stop outside run plays before they get to the corner. He's a good technician, but his play is more conservative than it will need to be with relatively average traits. Tu'o is always under control and generally where he needs to be. He's just average in coverage and will need to become more consistent as an open field tackler. Good backup to below average starter could be his career path, but whether he plays inside or outside. So what they're saying is maybe he could play a little bit of outside 4-3, I guess, there as well. And the thing is, you're going to see a lot of these takes are really low on the linebackers, and that's because, like I said, the linebackers are rated as like a -3 margin here compared to 2015 through 2022. So, there's not a lot of people high on this linebacker class, and basically, but I'm telling you, the stars, of course, of this linebacker class. You got Campbell. Um, Phelps actually is an intriguing prospect too. We didn't highlight him, but Phelps I do love. Sewell's going to be an interesting prospect. Sanders, people are high on. He looked good in the drills, but I have other concerns about him. Simpson, the kid out of Clemson, is going to be really good. And then Tu'o and Winters, I think, are going to. Which, of course, we got our boy from TCU, D. Winters. Now, of course, a little undersized, 5'11", 227. Ran a 4.49 40. It's tied for 4th overall, so decent speed. But I got respect for TCU, man. They got smacked. I think schematically wise, their coach did a really good job doing what they do. And I think some of these players, again, it's all about where they fit. But I think D. Winters is going to make some good plays for wherever he goes. I think he can also probably fly around as that kind of almost like a big nickel. I think a lot of these guys might end up as sub-package kind of guys at the linebackers. But we're seeing a lot of that safety, smaller linebacker, bigger safety, the big nickel. A versatile linebacker with inside-outside experience, Winters needs to take on blockers with the same intensity he displays when he hits carriers. He lacks ideal size, so he will need to win with play speed and aggression and attacking play design. He's adequate dropping into space and can get after the pocket as a blitzer. He might be best suited for a role as a run-and-strike will linebacker, but he has the instincts and feel to play if he's protected by the front. Winters has day 3 draft value with average ceiling. And it's just one of those ones, if he's got a D-line that'll let him run, the kid will run. He flies. And I think, I just realized I wasn't going over the draft visits. So we'll go over all those at the end. I think, we're heading on to corners and we have safeties and we're done for our defensive draft special for today, guys. I am so tired, so hungry, and yeah. So this guy, 2nd round pick, no way he leaves 2nd round. I've called that. He's literally visited every NFL team. I just wanted to highlight the kid. He's been mocked to the Ravens, and he's one of those ones, if he falls to the 2nd round, I think Baltimore would be absolutely ecstatic somehow having 2 second-round picks instead of their first, and using one of the 2 on the corner and then one of them on another wide receiver. 6'3", 198. Love the size of him. 4'5", 340. So he shows decent speed. He was 2nd in the vertical, 1st in the broad. So you're not gonna jump ball over this boy. I love it. I love it. I love bigger corners. I love just the systematic fits. Brents is a classic zone cover corner with outstanding blend of size, length, and leaping ability. He has the disruptive traits to reroute the release and the dog in him to handle his business and run support. He can play some press man on a vertical plane, but lacks the top end speed and pattern matching to play in that scheme full time. Brent needs to maintain eye discipline from his zone, but has the ball skills to win a battle for the pass when he's in position. While he's likely to be targeted in the draft as a zone-based corner, he has the instincts and demeanor to make a move to safety if needed. Ooh, that's actually the first time I've heard of it being a safety. Even though I put this on this presentation, I didn't even read this stuff, so I live react on all. Wow, that would be intriguing to move him to safety. I could definitely see why Joe loves him. He's kind of like, could play that tweener role in Seattle's defense, moving from like a corner to safety and back and forth, kind of like Tariq did. But yeah, this is the dude sneaky, might sneak into the 1st round potentially. But I just love the dude, and I had to highlight that he's literally like visited every freaking team. Rezjon Wright is actually another guy that let me see here. Yeah, sadly I didn't get to do my DBs, so corners, by the way, is rated as a 0 compared to previous drafts, meaning that it's exactly average compared to the 2015 through 2022 draft. So it's good, but not bad. You know what I mean? I need to double check I was live and everything because I haven't seen anyone. Res John Wright is someone that I came across a lot when I was covering to the visits. So I think this kid might sneak, in late into a round. He's got 6'2", 193, so the prototypical size. He is a scheme versatile outside corner with a talent and skill to become a successful starter in the league. Wright possesses the physical traits to contest throws in the NFL, but his footwork and anticipation that keep him near receivers to make plays on the football. He's very agile to mirror and phase routes from the man coverage, but will need to play with a bit more awareness from zone. Wright's ceiling could be determined by his ability to open and run with deep targets and his willingness to step up and a little more in run support. So needs to, play a little better tackling maybe, but has a lot of potential as a man corner. Keep an eye on this kid. I'm really interested to see where he goes. This is someone actually highlighted in the 49ers draft the other day, Corey Trice, Purdue Boilermaker, 6'3", 206. Again, great size, 4'4", 740, can turn and run. Bench press is 17 reps, so he's got some long, strong arms, it looks like a little bit. While he has legitimate strong safety size, Trice's game is better suited for the cornerback position. He is physical in coverage, but lacks the same temperament in run support. His size and strength helps impede the early stages of a route and smother possession throws underneath. He is a decent athlete, but lacks ideal fluidity and speed to recover when beaten. So press and zone coverages are where he should live. While there are limitations, there's also room for technical growth to make him a better pro. He won't be for everyone, but teams valuing size over speed will cover him as a middle round pick with upside. I know they were high on him just because, again, his size. He's almost like a strong safety in essence. But again, I think he's going to be a great player. He's got high upside, and keep an eye out for him. DJ Turner, the guy out of Michigan, 5'11", 178. Of course, blew up the combine with a 4.2, 640 first overall, but backed it up also with the fastest 10-yard split. And I'm sorry I'm running through these DBs a little faster. There was stuff going on, and I had to do something the day of defensive backs, so I didn't get to watch the combine and take notes on it. So we're just running through these a little quicker. An explosive athlete combining fluidity, speed, and superior technique to excel at his craft. Turner is scheme diversive with the ability to line up inside or outside in coverage. He's graceful with his mirror and match movements from press or off-man coverage, but he is plenty feisty when challenging throws or hitting receivers after the catch. Despite his competitiveness, big receivers can bounce him around and beat him on 50-50 balls because he's only 5'11", 178. Turner has the tools and talents to become an early starter as a nickel corner capable of matching up with both shifty and speedy opponents. And that's what I want him for. He's not going to be an outside guy. Imagine if you're a Baltimore Raven fan, Tavon Young 2.0. Hopefully more healthy, though. I think he has great potential to be a slot corner in the NFL, and I'm very excited to see what happens with him. We got to feature our other Terrapin. So everyone knows about Deonte Banks, first-round talent. But we got to talk about the guy on the other side, Jacorian Bent, number 2 for the Terrapins. 5'11", 188, a 4.3 40, so a really fast 40. He was third in the 10-yard split, fourth in vert, fourth in broad jump. Was so happy to see all these Terrapin players doing so well recently. A high-cut cornerback who is more of a catch challenger than instinctive ball hawk. The high passes defensed total is an example of how aggressive Bennett is at the catch point and how clearly effective at tilting the 50 ball in his favor. However, his coverage tends to lack the needed anticipation and discipline to stay connected to NFL route runners. He has good size, but his coverage strength is a mix and match of the man and zone with both featuring inconsistencies that will likely follow him into the NFL. He's another guy, like I said, bring him in as maybe a nickel corner, potentially, or slot corner. I don't know, biased about Terrapins, I guess. And that brings us to our final positional group of the night, guys, and that's going to be the safeties. Safeties are ranked as a negative -0.5, so not terrible margin compared to the previous draft classes. But we're going to start with the FSU kid, Jamie Robinson. He was visiting a lot of teams. He's been very active in his visits and everything. 4.5, 940. So decent speed. Oh, I didn't get his height and everything. Sorry. Threw up 23 on the bench though, so I love the size or the strength. He's a short arm defensive back with good toughness, and that shows why he was able to put up bench because he's got short arms. A compact frame and the versatility for the consideration at nickelback or safety. He thrives when playing downhill where anticipation and burst provide quick closure to make plays on the throw. He has twitchy feet to match up from the slot, but tends to stay behind if he falls behind in the route. He's a run supporter with a nose for the ball, but average stopping power. Robinson lacks ideal measurables and was unimpressive in the combine testing, but he's a feisty defender whose success could be determined by how a team decides to deploy him. I feel like there's a common note in a lot of my picks. It's all about the scheme. This is a guy is my sleeper pick. I think he's got a chance to be a different changer in the NFL. That's J.L. Skinner, Boise State kid, 6'4", 209. An interchangeable safety and above average run support talent and the versatility for multiple coverages. Skinner plays with good awareness to routes with eyes for a short zone and the instincts to play over the top. He can line up over pass catching tight ends and has the ball skills to make quarterbacks pay for off target throws. He has good feet but hips that can be a little sticky when flipping to run the vertical routes. His agility and range help him as a tackle collector in the open field. Skinner should become an above average starter within a couple of seasons. And I made this prediction on another show and I'm going to say it again. This is my sleeper pick for the safeties, guys. I think he's going to go somewhere and he might become a starter within the first season or two. And I love ball skills, man. I love ball skills because I'm an Ed Reed fan. Jordan Battle has been, again, another popular safety going around. Just, everyone knows they're Bama defenders, 4.55 40, so, decent speed. I like my safeties, especially if they're going to be free safeties more so, to have top-level speed, but, a lot of these guys are probably going to be playing a little more box safety strong. Battle offers the size, speed, and pedigree to become a starter early in his NFL career. Film study shows a certain sageness to his game. He's usually where he needs to be on the field and helps his defense move on to the next play. He's athletic enough for man coverage and is field aware as a split safety. He's not a thumper in run support and will miss tackles when he's slow to find his positioning, but he typically finishes plays that are in front of him. Battle has the physical and mental makeup to upgrade a defense in need of a steady safety play. Telling you, this kid's going to fall in the draft, and he's going to be a really good pick. I thought this was pretty cool. Jason Taylor II. That's when you hear Jason Taylor, you're like, man, isn't that the? Yep, they're related. 4.5 40, fourth in his 10-yard split, second in the vert, third in the broad jump. Taylor offers well-defined strength and obvious area concerns that should allow for teams to deploy him in the best manner possible if they are honest in their assessments. He boasts an NFL frame and is a powerful tackler who can stop rushers and pass catchers in their tracks. Though his speed and agility are below par, he's highly instinctive and possesses the skills to make plays on the ball as a deep safety. Figuring out when to play him low and when to play him high will be the challenge of coordinators. But even as a backup, he brings four-phase special teams talent to the table immediately. I love the kid. He's related to the late Jason Taylor, who was shot down. I don't know if it's his son or cousin, but love the kid. He really could be something. And with that, we have our final safety here for the defensive draft special. And that's going to be Sidney Brown, Syracuse kid. 4.4 740, third in the 10-yard split, third and second in vert and broad, and threw at 23 on the bench. Just seems like a really well-rounded kid. He is a physical safety who is limited by a lack of fluidity in space. Brown has a straight line speed and is very effective mapping his transit to the ball carrier near the line of scrimmage. However, his missed tackles are concerning considering the position he plays. He competes hard in man coverage using anything at his disposal to prevent tight ends from making plays. But above average pass catchers could be too much for him to handle as a pro. Brown will need to prove he can win in the box and shine on special teams to stick around in the league. And again, I think he's going to be a guy that's going to specialize in finding those tight ends and following them. I really like the kid. I'm not sure if he's the kid out from Lehigh Acres, but we've got one guy local from my school here. With that being said, guys, I'm going to go over here a little bit. Let me see here. Gerard Clark's only visited 3 teams, one being the Packers. Keep an eye out, Packers fans, for my CCU guy. Keandre Coburn's had 7 visits, including ones to the 49ers and the Seahawks. Gervon Dexter, Florida, had 13 visits. He's been very popular, including my Ravens, the Bears, and the Bills. Zach Pickens, USC kid, 5 visits total, including the Bears, Bills, and Seahawks. We covered Coburn. Jalen Redmond. Actually not on our visit list. Devontae Stills is, though. Devontae has only had 2 visits. One for the Niners. So, Niners, keep your eye on Devontae Stills, the Virginia kid. Ojomo, one of my favorites here. I don't think he's had any. Doesn't look like it. Foskey, the Notre Dame kid, looking at his visits. I don't know if he's on the list either. Oh, no, there he is. He's had 3 visits. So, again, another one for Niner fans to keep their eye on. He's one of the team's 3. Byron Young, the Tennessee kid. He's had 12 visits, including the Ravens, Bears, Bills, and Seahawks. So, again, a very popular guy that's been worked out a lot, and a lot of teams are really trying to figure out if he's the guy, you know. My boy Yaya, going to be up here at the top of the screen. Yaya's had 5 visits, including the 49ers and the Seahawks. We're seeing a lot of crossover between those two. Colby Wooden, the kid out of Auburn, who I really like. I don't think he's had any visits, at least not with our teams. Because, of course, a lot of these people have visits if they're not on my list. Just it wasn't with one of my 5 teams. Ramirez has not visited with any of the teams. And Zach Harrison. Nope. Our boy Campbell. Don't have him on the list, but you don't need him to visit. Again, some of these guys, you don't need them to visit. You know. You don't need to have them visit. It's even better that they don't visit because, just it doesn't tip your hand to another team. Ventrell Miller was included on this list. He's had 9 visits, including the Ravens, Packers, and Seahawks. Diane Henley. The Washington State kids only had 3 visits, one of them being the Seahawks, so he's a guy to keep your eye on for Seahawks fans. Henry Tu'o, the Bama kid, coming in with only 2 visits, one of them being the 49ers. So he's a guy to keep an eye on for the 49ers later in the draft. And then D. Winters rounding out our linebackers. Not on any of our gut lists, but I feel like that's a guy you don't need. As we mentioned, Julius Brents, the cornerback, has literally visited every team or has been studied by every team. Rez John Wright, the cornerback. Or Oregon State has had 3 visits. Those 3 visits, Niners, Seahawks, Packers. So we're seeing, again, a lot of overlap between those NFC guys over there. What's up with that, guys? Corey Trice, I don't think. Yep, never mind. Purdue Boilermaker, he's been on the Ravens' radar as well as the Bears, total of 3 visits. So I'd love and welcome the kid. DJ Turner, the Michigan kid, not on the list. And Jacorian Bennett. Not on the list. Moving to our safeties, though, Jamie Robinson, like I mentioned earlier, Jamie's had a total of 13. So a lot of teams really interested in this young man. 49ers, Bills, Packers, and Seahawks are included on that list. J.L. Skinner, the guy I'm really high on, has only been visited by 4 teams. Seahawks are one of those teams, so congrats to you, Joe Stevens. If you end up with Skinner, I think he'll be a great addition over there. Jordan Battle, the Bama safety, 4 visits, including the Bills and the Packers. Again, great fits. Jason Taylor the second. Not actually on my list. And then Sidney Brown, the safety out of Syracuse. Not on my list. But with that being said, guys, that is my preview of the defensive draft special. Guys considered day 2 and 3 talents who I think could be great additions to a lot of teams. Some are very schematic, and maybe I'm thinking some of those with Baltimore in mind, or maybe with our friends over at Seattle and San Francisco over in the Bay Area. Really excited. We're going to be playing that division next year. We have Seattle at home, from my understanding, and San Francisco at away. Of course, I don't see my boy Joe Stevens traveling out to Baltimore, but it'd be really cool to go out to the Niners game with some of those guys. I doubt we'll ever have the money for that, though. Come on, the stadium's named after me. My name's Levi. It's called Levi Stadium. Let's make it happen, guys. But anyway, that's going to be our defensive draft special, guys. For anyone that tunes in or has tuned in, thank you for tuning in. I actually think I'm going to go live one more time tonight, or actually, no, I'm going to do it tomorrow. Tomorrow, I will be doing one final mock draft just by myself for the Baltimore Ravens. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to get that scheduled here as soon as this stream ends. And as always, guys, like, subscribe, follow, check out all my fellow content creators. Sit to Tally Films, coach over as Baltimore. We got Joe Stevens at Seahawks Talk for our Seattle. We got Bryant Culp, No Border Sports, Ryan over there. Corey Davis, CG Ruthless, Niner Sickness. I'm sorry if I'm forgetting anybody, but we're a big whole group. We're gonna have some stuff coming up soon. And of course, we will be live draft night doing coverage. We've done a lot of work, hopefully, to really make this broadcast better. And we've still got some stuff I think we're working on. So definitely tune in. Every day of the draft will be live, guys. We'll have a panel comprised of a bunch of different teams. Hopefully, we'll maybe have some live call-ins. And as always, it's your boy D-Rave, Darwin's Raven. And have a good one.